Was there a reason why Dr. Nandipha appeared in court with a Bible? What verse was she reading? What does the verse even say? Well, that's an interest with the Bible. And so that's the subject matter of what we are talking about in this particular video. I thought it would be interesting for us to think about this particular subject within that lane, seeing that, the doctor, the doctor recently appeared in court with a Bible verse. So if you don't know who I'm talking about, if you don't know who Dr. Nandipha is, Dr. Nandipha right now is going through a court case for aiding a man who is a known criminal by the name of Thabo. And so her relationship with this man has brought her to where she is, in her involvement in his life. I think a little bit earlier on they were seen together after he had been supposedly known to have died. The man them faked his own death, and they tried to escape the country. They got caught. Now, even when they actually first appeared, she used to hide her face. I want us to start this particular topic right there. She used to hide her face because, the charges and all these things, you would rather, so she used to hide. So now, then she started dolling up, she started appearing a certain way, appear supermodel-like, beautiful. She started appearing dolled up and everything, so it structures or it frames a certain narrative for her. And so on this episode, we want to talk about that. And then when we look at the verse, I have questions. Does she really know what the verse says? Or maybe she just chose it randomly. It's the Actuality Show with the daily Christian commentary videos. If it's the first time over here, be sure to check out some other videos that are down in the pinned comments. I'm going to check you out over there. And so, other episode is down in the pinned comments. Remember the series that we just did on Bishop Makam? Yeah, there is an English version we just did. So if you didn't understand the Suthu that we did that one which we did, there is now an English breakdown of it. So, doctor was in court, supposedly reading a Bible. Now, I mentioned she used to doll herself up the first times when she appeared, opposed to the image that she had before. She started making up. She started looking a certain way. Now, you have to come with the times. You have to move with the times. And to move with the times means appear as one who understands the righteous path. This is the next level of, this is the next level of evolution. It's appear as certain, because if she was really being Christian, she would have no need to be carrying the Bible into the court. We know you read the Bible. you don't need you carrying a Bible into court. But you see, the whole appearance of appearing with the Bible in a court, it makes you look like, you can't be separated. So it goes back to that image that I was talking about earlier on, dolled up. It's an appearance. Now, as a matter of fact, if you go back into 2 Timothy chapter number 3, before we read the verse she was reading, or the verse that she was on when she was out there. 2 Timothy chapter number 3, round about verse number 4 to 5, it says, people in the last day, traitors, reckless, considered lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God. And then it says, having a form of godliness, but denying the power, to turn from such things. You see, they deny the power thereof. They deny the power of that salvation that they claim themselves to affiliate with. So they make a distance. There's a distancing feature to it. It says they are the kind of whom their way into uphold captive and vulnerable weighted. So basically, he talks about how they deceive other people, much like this image. See, it's an image of deception. If she was really about the faith, she didn't have to show up with that, with the Bible, you know. And on the other days, you know, she'll be there busy dolling up, you know, they'll be busy love smiling with Thabo Besta there and the whole nine just the guy was you know, that word we can't say. And they'll be there busy smiling. But this day, you know, because she's in a full performance art, she's in an art form. This day she didn't know him. She was not greeting him, nothing. She just passed him. Now, let's get to that verse that she was supposedly reading. So there was an SABC journalist and also an ENCA journalist that zoomed in a little bit, gave us a little bit of a peek of what she was reading, but then you had to kind of turn it. You know, if you turn it around, that's when you'll see the verse. It's like verse 29 or something like that. It's verse 29 somewhere there, where it says, "In that day you will know that I am in the Father, and the Father is in me." Okay? And so that's what the verse says there. And then it goes on to actually say, I think it's about verse, yeah, it's roughly about, yeah, it's about verse number 20 around there. Wherever, it's very difficult to read there. Whoever has my commandments and keeps them, it is him who loves me. And he who loves me will be loved by my Father, and I will love him. Now, this particular chapter she is reading is John chapter number 14, right? John chapter number 14. And so quite interesting that if you actually went a few verses back into kind of picking up a bit of context in that verse, it is the same chapter where he says, "And I will leave you, I will not leave you alone. I will leave you with, I will not leave you comfortless. I will come to you, yet in a little while, and the world sees me no more. But you will see me, because I live. Ye shall live also." So it's quite interesting that that's the same chapter. Just I think a few verses right above, I think 2 verses right above, where her hand is covering there. That's what the verse then goes to say, you know. The world will see me, there will be a time when the world sees me no more. That's the same chapter that the doctor was reading. The day when the world will see me no more. And so, interesting, that's the same chapter. Okay? Same chapter where Jesus then says, okay? "And he that has my commandments," the verse that you actually saw there. Okay, "he that has my commandments and keeps them is thinking." So this is from John chapter number 14, from verse number 18 down, if you read that. And then verse 21 then goes to say, "And he that has my commandments and keeps them, and he it is that loves me." Now, we've talked about what love is within the Jewish context. It's choosing God. So it's quite interesting. This is the verse that she was reading. It's a verse about her choosing God. But don't forget, don't forget the act. The act of looking as close to holiness as possible. So we're not doubting that she can change. No, we're not doubting that she can change. But when we read 2 Timothy chapter number 3, verse number 5, it warns of people who will have a form of godliness, but the way they are reflects nothing of godliness. It says, "But they will not turn from those things." The same way she was dolling up, is she now dolling up to faith? You know, I don't know if she read that particular chapter intentionally, and someone gave it to her in the court. Someone might have just passed the verse and said, you know, read this one, you know. We don't know. We don't know. But one thing for sure is she's been on an act. Like if you see all the way through the period, compared to the first time when she actually appeared in court, she didn't let her face show. And then she got up to pandering to the crowd and the people. And this is how she then now is where she is. You know, it can't just be pretty face on the camera for the court case. You know, she has to add another element, you know. And the element that she has added this time is piety. Look as clean image as possible. Now, there was an audio that once came out after she got arrested, talking about how selfish Nandipha is, or very self-centered Nandipha is. And in that audio, they painted Nandipha is the kind of person that would have a child, abandon the child so that she can have a certain lifestyle, portray herself in a certain lifestyle. In the last days, unfortunately, that's the thing that you see the most. Now remember, 2 Timothy chapter number 3, the one that I was reading, if you open the full chapter, it's the same book that says, let me open it up in the King James Version. It says, know this also, that in the last days perilous time shall come, for men shall be lovers of themselves. So it is the same chapter that says that Nandipha should know about. So we see her, you know. There's a lot of people that play up to faith. You know, they play up to faith, but they don't really believe it. They're not false converts. They were never converts. There's no such thing as a false convert. You either are a convert or you're not. Faking convert, being a convert, it's not a thing. There's only people that claim to be converts, not that they are converts. It only gets clear when you hear or see. So with Nandipha, from how we've known her or how she's portrayed herself from the start of this entire trial with the rapings, and then all the way to hiding a man who faked his own death, has she shown herself as a reliable person to be really, but unfortunately, for most of us, we're not really buying it. You know, the court, that's what I like about the court system. The court system will patiently look at you and see you playing up the image, playing this image of, you know, trying to play piety and stuff. And they will still follow their procedures in order to determining your fate at the end. They're very patient over there. Me, I'll rule now. You appear with the Bible. Send this one to jail for life. So I'm not a judge. I'm not a judge. The moment you start playing, I say, Chief, you see now, you are tempting me. If I was a judge, I say, you see now you are tempting me now. You want me to hit this gavel and tell you how long you're going to go to jail? Today, hamba. Sugar. But you know, so the system is, you know, it has its ways. You know, they'll take their time. They'll give you your thingy, you know. She had a time to dolly up. She had a time to really embrace the life in jail and come out and start looking a certain way. Look as peaceful as possible, you know, just. But because there is this image that the Bible warns about, is she doing that? Yeah, tell me what you think. For me, not convinced. I'm sure she's still dolling up. She's still kind of like playing the act, unfortunately for her. Unfortunately for her. Like many that have done before her. They dolly up. They play the character, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof to turn from such things. What does that tell you? It tells you in the last days people will embrace an image. Only for the image's sake. Not really for any change aspect. No. For the image's sake. Just for you to see them a certain way. It's sad, really. But I hope she understands what verse she was reading there. The verse talks about a comforter. No, you know, that part, I will not leave you alone. I will leave you with a comforter. Now, I absolutely get. If that's what she was reading, because that's just a verse above where she was there, where she has covered. Mostly when you are reading, where you cover is where you were, right? So, if she was likely reading that for comfort, I hope she understands that comforter is also the same one that convicts of the wickedness of the hands, of her hands, the places where you've been. Do you realize that comforter comes to bring conviction in those areas? You can't be selective. Convicts at all areas. Someone's child was killed. Their body was just to hide the person that you were protecting. And so that's what you partook in. Sriki, yeah, tell me what you think, and I'll see you on the later on episode. Thought it was quite an interesting one to see what verse she was reading. Yeah, I'll have a good one. I'll see you on the later on episode.